Hey guys, welcome back to Amber Reviews, and today I'm going to be trying to impart some wisdom, tips and tricks, I suppose, lessons I learned about modifying my Tesla Model 3. Tip number one for me has to be, if you're planning to do a body kit, try to get it all in the same brand. Because I initially had some concerns around, the ride height, and I wanted to make sure that if I got a kit, it wasn't going to be too low. It would scratch as least as possible, I suppose. So I did my body kit basically in three sections. The front lip was an AliExpress front lip, um, which I like the look of. Though I didn't mind the Maxton one, which was essentially my reed diffuser. So the reed diffuser was a Maxton reed diffuser. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see. I kind of get low into the bushes to get that. I think that's a V1 Maxton reed diffuser for the Tesla 3, and then obviously on the side skirts, I couldn't find any side skirts that was not dropping the ride height by another inch or so. So I got the Easy Lip, which is essentially just a rubber kind of side skirt. I mean, overall, I don't mind the look. I think if you didn't have any restrictions or limitations, sorry, plane flying overhead. It's so hard to film today. We got a plane, got helicopters, got cicadas, got birds, people just driving past. But yeah, anyways, sounds like I'm complaining. But yeah, like besides that, I think I would probably have stuck with a whole Maxton kit front, side, and back. But that was kind of my original plan. But yeah, plans change. My tip number two has to be these kind of carbon fiber-ish covers, right? So I had them up front, and then I was planning to get it on the armrest and also for the back, just to make it look like one piece. I would have done nothing. I love the look of the original. It's just that this thing underneath, there was a little chip mark around here. Just frustrated the crap out of me. So my tip is, if you get a bit of a damage, Tesla does offer replacement parts. So I could have just got a replacement part. That would have costed $145, I believe. I think they come and install it for that price, which, I mean, the installation isn't ridiculously hard anyway. But instead of buying these covers, so I bought this cover, and I bought some front stuff. I think I spent about $130, $140 anyway. And I am not too happy with the look. It is what it is. I'm not going to drop another $145 just to replace the part now. But the tip is, if you love the OEM look, replace it. Don't try to find these cheap, quote unquote, cheap solutions. Tip number three is along the same lines. It's around these carbon fiber kind of covers. So I replaced it because I don't like the wood. But the tip is, buy from the same supplier, because the patterns make a difference. It crosses slightly differently if you buy from different suppliers. Sometimes the color's darker, sometimes the color's lighter. It's just not worth the risk. And if you're trying to do down the side of the door, through the front part, down the middle, and they're all mismatching, it's just gonna not look great. So my tip number four is around the matte PPF. While you may not think that those people are always busy, they're gonna have sales during maybe Black Friday, Christmas time. So I've seen 2 sales since I have purchased this PPF wrap. I would try next time to make sure that I wait for the sales, because the PPF wrap for me wasn't cheap. And yeah, it would have been a massive saving of like $800-900 at least if I just waited for the sale period to purchase the PPF wrap. My tip number 5 has to be, choose a good PPF installer. It's hard to see in this light, but no, you can see this little white lips raising up. I had some issues with the side skirt because that piece is lifted and I had to go back in like a week's time. It's hard to see because I covered up my front lip. There was a little bit of some bubbles here and there. It's, you know, like you're spending a lot of money, so please do the research. Be pickier if you have to be. Like, you know, this is my first time getting PPF, so you know, nice lesson learned, expensive lesson learned, but hopefully that is a good kind of tip for you guys when choosing your PPF supplier. Like, I mean, there's kind of a good PPF supplier. I found that some places offer, they offer like rent, you know, kind of cars for you as well. So you can kind of borrow a car and have it for a week. So when they're kind of installing it, it takes normally a week to do kind of something like this. This place took 2 weeks. I was without a car for 2 weeks as well. So it was just really frustrating, I think, when trying to deal with companies that just couldn't keep the promise. They overcommitted to the customers, and it just, yeah. You can see things like this, it's just not clean, right? Yeah. Things like that just annoy the crap out of me. So, yeah, that's my tip. Number 6 has to be steering wheel covers. So, you know, you can get the traditional old school type, which just wrap around it, but you can kind of feel the groove between, you know, where it's not wrapping. Or there's this kind of newer style where it's a full sewing kit. So you essentially sew the steering wheel cover on it. It looks relatively okay, which is why I dropped, you know, my $50-$60 on it from AliExpress and got one shipped in, right? What I have to say doesn't work for me is the fact that I couldn't feel the heating through it once it was there. So that was a bit of a bummer. It is also quite difficult if you are unskilled like myself to try to stitch one of those things on. So that's my tip. If you're planning to do it, make sure you can do it. Don't spend the money and waste it. Also, if you like the heated kind of steering wheel, then probably not a good option. So this one's just word of warning. I feel like when I had the Tesla and it wasn't wrapped, it was still lowered. It had the rims, you know, it had some tinting done. I probably didn't feel any extra attention. I noticed that I got a lot of unwanted attention once I got it wrapped. It just stood out a lot more. The lines were more defined, and it just wasn't. It just wasn't good because, you know, there was incidents of people kicking my car when I was parking it there, and yeah, just word of warning: if you want your car to look good, then you get some bad fire sometimes. Tip number 8 has to be lowering makes the wheel gaps be. It makes the car look good, but man, there are some complications lowering the Tesla. So I'm going to show you some of the low points. So this front lip basically because, as you can see, it just extends out. So you can kind of see the difference in color around the front. So you know that's kind of where it extends out. Take a look at this part. So this part here, it's like 4 fingers, so it's relatively low. It's scratched out. I think there's some chips on the other side. Right. So the other part to worry about is this part here. It's all scratched out as well. So the mud flap is really low once you put on it. So it's probably something to consider whether or not you want to get a rubber one, because these plastic ones I don't work. The other part that keeps scratching out is here. So the Tesla kind of goes straight across, and then it dips down this area, and it's really low as well. So that part scratches. Other than that, I find most parts of the car are pretty okay. But yeah, just word to the wise. Tip number 9 is if you're going to change your puddle lights, I try to keep spare puddle lights in the car and a kit, a tool to, you know, actually change it. The reason for this is, take a look at the windows. I'm trying to do it one-handed.
don't know, did you see that? But essentially the window went down, right? And then when I close it, the window went up, right? The puddle lights affect that action happening, right? So if the puddle lights break, what ends up happening is the window that is supposed to be down when it closes actually stays up, which means a lot of broken windows because when that thing malfunctions. So keep, be aware, essentially. So this car's trying to park. Be aware, and yeah, just make sure you are slightly prepared for that, because you don't want to be stuck, unable to close the door because your aftermarket puddle lights fail on you. All right, my final advice, tip 10 is if you are thinking about designing the car, and I feel like I've wasted more money than I actually needed to design this. As much as some were good tips, I saved some money. It's all from harsh lessons, but yeah, pre-design. So sit down, have a think overall. What do you want to spend? What do you want to do to the car? Do you want to lower it? Do you want to add a body kit? Do you want to change these mirror covers? Do you want to redo the interior? Do you want to buy seat covers? Do you want to buy all these different accessories like covering the air vents? You want to do lighting interior. Have a think about it. Like people buy covers for this. I don't really like it. But I like to leave it as stock. Oh man, this thing looks funny, huh? Anyway, but yeah, like have a think about all the things you want to do. I say plug down in an Excel spreadsheet, work out the cost, try to find pictures. That's why I'm doing a lot of this stuff, because I find that when I was trying to design it, I couldn't see a lot of, people's pictures on how they did it. I couldn't get 360 walk around cars to see how did they match the front bit with the back bit, and what worked and what didn't work. So I'm hoping that my videos help out a bit. It's not going to solve all your problems, but it helps out a bit on things you want to know. I didn't put this in the tip, but see these mirror covers, like some people buy the covers across, but then you see two layers. You see the inside layer and the outside layer, whereas this is a complete replacement, so you don't really have that problem. So there's little things like that, right, when you're modifying that you don't really think of, and then when you finally get it done and you're like, oh man, why did I spend $50 on this? I should have spent $70, and it would have just saved me a lot more money in the end, right? So hopefully that helps. If it does, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that like button, drop some comments, ask questions. Hope you all have a great day, like this nice sunny day I have here.